Long before the Targaryens, long before even Valyria, there was said to be a civilization so vast, so powerful, that it stretched across the whole of Essos, the great empire of the Dawn. The Chronicles of Yi describe it as the first true empire of men, ruled by god-kings descended from the heavens themselves. In this golden age, the people flourished under rulers said to be chosen by the Maiden Made of Light, the Sun herself. Its rulers bore names of gemstones, each meant to reflect their brilliance and divine favour. The Pearl Emperor, the Jade Emperor, the Opal Emperor, and so many more. Together, they reigned in harmony, their empire reaching from the lands now known as Yi and Leng, across the Jade Sea, and perhaps even further still. The Great Empire was said to be a land of peace and prosperity, a golden age unlike any that followed. Its people built wonders now lost to time, its rulers lived for centuries, their lifespans far beyond those of mortal men, and in this age the world seemed ordered, balanced. But like all golden ages, it could not last. The tale ends with a shadow, the death of the Amethyst Empress, the betrayal that brought an end to the light, and the rise of the Bloodstone Emperor. Hello everyone, and welcome to Storyteller's Codex. Here, we delve deep into the rich lore of The Lord of the Rings, A Song of Ice and Fire, and the vast worlds beyond. Welcome. The legends of Yi tell us that the last rightful ruler of the great empire of the Dawn was the Amethyst Empress. She was beloved by her people, said to embody the light of her divine ancestry. But her reign was cut short by betrayal. Her younger brother, remembered only as the Bloodstone Emperor, usurped her throne. He murdered his sister and seized power for himself, plunging the empire into shadow. The Yitish chronicles do not soften their account. They describe the Bloodstone Emperor as a tyrant unlike any before him. He practiced black sorcery. He worshipped a strange, dark god, said to be a black stone that had fallen from the sky. He is remembered as a cannibal, a necromancer, a man who dabbled in abominations that corrupted both himself and the empire. This moment is remembered as the Blood Betrayal, the act that brought the Maiden Made of Light to turn her face away from the world. And with her sorrow, the sun itself hid. The long night began. Whether the Bloodstone Emperor was truly responsible, or whether this is myth laid over history, we cannot know. But in the eyes of Yi, his crime was not just against his sister, not just against his people. It was a crime against the order of the world itself. When we read the Chronicles of Yi, we must always ask, are these histories or are they myths? The story of the Bloodstone Emperor is dramatic, even biblical. A brother murders his sister, usurps the throne, turns to dark gods, and brings about the end of a golden age. It is a tale of sin, of punishment, of cosmic balance destroyed. But how much of this can we take as truth? The maesters of Westeros are quick to dismiss such accounts. They argue that the Yitish histories are drenched in allegory, that the blood betrayal may be a metaphor for dynastic conflict, rebellion, or even natural disaster. A story told in mythic terms because the reality was too distant to record, and yet the parallels to other legends cannot be ignored. In Westeros, the Long Night is remembered as a time when the others swept south. In Ashai, it is the age of Azor Ahai, who drew a burning sword against the encroaching darkness. In Yi, it is the Blood Betrayal, when the Bloodstone Emperor cast down his sister and ushered in shadow. Are these three different events, or three different memories of the same catastrophe? And if they are indeed the same, then who was the Bloodstone Emperor? A tyrant whose corruption brought ruin? Or perhaps another name for Azor Ahai himself, a hero in one land but a villain in another? The truth is hidden beneath layers of story, each culture shaping the myth to its own needs. What remains is only the shadow of a man, remembered not for what he was, but for what he represented, the fall of light and the coming of darkness. If the Bloodstone Emperor truly practiced black sorcery, then it may have been in Ashai that he found his power. The Yitish chronicles tell us that he worshipped a black stone that fell from the sky. Some say this was a meteorite, a fragment of the heavens themselves pulsing with unnatural power. Others believe it may have been the same oily black stone found in places of dread across the world. The sea stone chair of the Iron Islands, the foundations of Old Volantis, the ruins of Yin in Sothorios, all linked perhaps by a strange and alien darkness. It is said that in his reign he consorted with shadowbinders, necromancers, and blood sorcerers. These dark arts, forbidden even in Yi Ti, spread eastward to Asshai by the shadow. Even today, Asshai is a city where shadow and sorcery reign, a place where no child laughs, and the very rivers run black. Could all of this trace back to the Bloodstone Emperor? If so, his legacy is not only the fall of his empire but the spreading of shadow magic across the world. A gift, or a curse, that endures to this day. What cannot be denied is that the Blood Betrayal marked the end of the great Empire of the Dawn. The Yiddish records say that when the Amethyst Empress was murdered, the sun turned its face away, the maiden made of light wept, and the darkness of the long night fell. Crops failed, empires collapsed, and the world descended into chaos. But how did this empire truly fall? Was it destroyed from within, its people rising against the Bloodstone Emperor and tearing down his rule? Or was it undone by forces far beyond its control? Famine, cold, and the endless night itself. Some claim that the long night was punishment for his sins. Others that it was a natural cycle, a calamity of climate and chance, later blamed on a single man. But whatever the truth, the great empire did not endure. Its wonders were lost, its rulers forgotten, and its lands fractured into the nations we know today. In this sense, the Bloodstone Emperor may be less a man than a symbol, the embodiment of hubris, the fall of light to shadow, a cautionary tale written across the ruins of Essos. Yet his shadow lingers still. The legacy of the Bloodstone Emperor can be seen in every tyrant who came after, in the madness of Marga the Cruel, in the fire obsession of Aerion Brightflame, in the whispers of Euron Greyjoy, who sits upon the oily black seastone chair and dreams of godhood. In every age there are those who turn to darkness for power, who spill the blood of kin, who cast down order in the name of ambition. Each is an echo of the first sin, the first betrayal. And across Essos, fragments of his memory survive. Yi Ti remembers him as the Bloodstone Emperor. Asshai whispers of him as a sorcerer king. Other lands remember only the long night, stripped of names but heavy with dread. Was he real? Was he myth? Perhaps he was both. A man whose crimes were so great they reshaped memory itself, becoming a story retold across cultures, each with its own moral, its own warning. So who was the Bloodstone Emperor? A tyrant who murdered his sister and plunged the world into night? A sorcerer who spread the shadow that lingers still in Asshai? Or simply a name given to explain catastrophe? A myth born from the need to make sense of a world in darkness? Perhaps he was all of these at once. What we do know is this. In every telling he is remembered as the moment when light fell and shadow rose. The Golden Age ended, and the world we know was born in blood and betrayal. The Bloodstone Emperor stands as one of the most haunting figures in the lore of A Song of Ice and Fire. The first great villain, the first usurper, the first man to stain history with darkness so profound it still echoes through the ages. And if his story is a cycle, as history so often is in Martin's world, then perhaps we have not seen the last of his shadow. Perhaps the choices of men, again and again, bring us back to the same question. Will ambition and betrayal plunge the world into night once more? If you are interested in The Lord of the Rings or A Song of Ice and Fire, click one of the links on the screen to dive deeper into the lore. Thanks for watching, and we hope to see you next time.